Hey everybody, welcome back to We Are the Batman. I'm Mike.
And this is Matthew.
All right, today we're doing some kind of fun. We've been blessed with many DC animated features over the years. Batman or DC adjacent, whatever you want to call it. We thought and we've rated them on this show. We thought it would be fun to pitch our own. Like let's pick a Batman comic book run that hasn't been touched on or adapted yet, and let's pitch an animated movie about it and pitch some of the casting as well. Before we get into that, let's do a fun new segment we started doing, which is called What Are We Watching? We are recording this on Thursday, June 29th. At this time, Matt, what are you watching right now?
I watched the behind the scenes making of The Mandalorian season 3, which is really, really cool.
Nice.
As much as those shows are touch and go, the behind the scenes stuff is phenomenal. I really have a lot of fun watching that. Started watching Secret Invasion. I've only watched the pilot. I'm gonna give it 2 more, and then either it's gonna go on the shelf with Obi-Wan, or I'm gonna enjoy it and we're gonna watch it all the way through. And then I did something really random. I don't know if I've ever talked about the podcast on here, but there is a podcast called Wizard and the Bruiser that I really enjoy listening to. Their Black Adam episode had me dying.
Yeah.
But they did a Ralph Bakshi episode, and they talked about, the original, because I don't know if you know, but they, Rankin and Bass did The Hobbit, and then they inexplicably do Return of the King. Yeah. And the reason why they do that is that Ralph Bakshi actually did a Lord of the Rings movie that was Fellowship of the Ring and the Two Towers, but because it didn't do well, they didn't let him finish it. So they go back to Rankin and Bass. So I watched
those old, like the rotoscope ones, right? Where they animated over the live action and it looked weird.
Well, it was kind of funny because it was like, I haven't watched it probably in 40 years.
I think I saw, I don't think I've ever watched one of those all the way through. I've seen them here and there, and especially when the Peter Jackson movies came out, I think one of the channels on TV was showing them like in a weekend marathon or something. Yeah. And they're a little too dated for me.
It was interesting because I think now watching it and going like, is that John Hurt voicing Aragorn? Okay. Yes, is that C-3PO is Legolas? Like, it's just like these weird, but honestly, it was really good. Like, it's completely different from the Rankin and Bass.
Wildly. Yeah.
It is honestly more accurate to the books than the Peter Jackson.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They were trying to recreate the books basically with those.
But they also do skip a lot of stuff.
As they should. Because as somebody who's read those books, as much as I appreciate the world building and the overall like story of it all, they're so boring.
Yes. But no, it was interesting to watch. I would almost suggest, like, hey, if you guys haven't seen it or you haven't checked it out, like, is it action-packed and great and awesome? No. But it's just a very interesting kind of dip in this, like, this is what animation was like. And some of it, like, now watching it and thinking of stuff like The Volume or thinking about how we do things, I'm like as weird as it sounds, like, I could make this animated movie. Some of the stylistic choices are very interesting. So it was fun to watch. And luckily I was the only one into it. So my kids sat there quietly while the movie was playing, ha ha ha. So the DVD's here in my office. I'm going to finish it today.
That's funny. Yeah. I think like I said, I know I watched a little bit of each of those, like when I was in college or something like that, because I mean, obviously they're before my time, but just they're great little time capsules as far as like enjoyment watching them. Not much.
I love the Rankin and Bass Hobbit. I love that one. I love it so much, but it is so folklore 70s music.
Yeah.
And then the Return of the King one's kind of meh.
But I heard that one's kind of because I love Ralph Bakshi mostly because of, like, Cool World, because he is a guy who is out of his mind. He is that shit crazy, and he knows it, and he leans into it.
Yes.
So And not that I'm saying Cool World is a good movie, but
no,
it's because it's not. It is not a good movie.
Yeah.
Which is
But
crazy.
no,
It's crazy when you think about the fact that Cool World came out after Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And it's like, wow, you guys missed hard.
yeah. And it's always funny to go like, oh, that's Brad Pitt.
Yeah. I too have been watching Secret Invasion. I've watched both episodes. I liked episode 1. I loved episode 2.
Okay.
Episode 2 pulls no punches. It's oof. And to me, I like, this is everything I loved about Winter Soldier and Civil War, the kind of like political intrigue, spy thriller stuff. And it's just that. Like, none of the super, like, yeah, you got the Skrulls, but really like none of the superhero stuff. This is a show that there's not going to be a huge CGI fight at the end because it can't.
Yeah.
And also like the fact that you've got Sam Jackson and Ben Mendelsohn as kind of your two leads in this show. Like, there's a moment in episode 2 where they just let these two powerhouse actors just powerhouse act against each other for like 3 minutes, and it's incredible. So I'm really into the show right now. Other than that, I've been doing a lot of stuff around the house, and I haven't been home a lot because it's busy comedy season right now. So most of what I've had on at the house has been like my go-to background shows. So like I've had American Dad playing on Hulu because it's awesome, as well as Big Mouth on Netflix, probably the raunchiest animated show ever made, but it makes me laugh nonstop every time I watch it. If you are of the correct age and able to watch Big Mouth and have a high constitution, I highly recommend it. It's also just great voice acting. But yeah, I haven't been around a whole heck of a lot to watch stuff. I was gonna try and go see the new Indiana Jones this weekend because it's not out yet at the time we're recording this, but I don't know if I'm gonna have time this weekend, so we'll see. But yeah, it's been not watching a whole heck of a lot. I did finish rewatching the Superman animated series.
Nice.
From when it dropped on WB and when they redid the Bruce Timm stuff. Here's what I'll say. That show does not hold up as well as I'd hoped. It's not bad. I think because I watched it when it first aired as a kid, I had fonder memories of it. Watching it like compared to like Batman the animated series, or even when they redid it and turned into the New Adventures of Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Even that, I think, and also same with like the Justice League cartoons, those all hold up really well. There's just something about Superman the animated series that does not hold up super well. It's not that it's bad, but like it feels more dated. And I'll say the same thing about that show that I said about the first Dick Donner movie, which is Superman the Animated Series has a 3-part first episode.
Yeah.
It takes 3 episodes to get Superman. That is too long for a Saturday morning kid show.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 parts. There is no, because I remember as a kid, I got so frustrated that after 2 episodes, I didn't have Superman. I didn't watch it again for like a couple of months. Because I was like, there's no Superman in this show. And I was like 9. So I stopped watching it. So there's a bunch of episodes I haven't actually seen because I didn't watch them. I haven't seen the show since it originally aired. So, but yeah, it's a bummer. I liked it, but it wasn't as good as I remember from being a kid.
Well, and I think too, is that's one of those shows that takes place in futuristic kind of look, which was futuristic for 94 or 95 when it came out. It's not futuristic now. Now it just kind of looks weird. And then, I've gone back. I have the DVD of the first half of the second season or third season. I can't, the DVD set I have starts with World's Finest or ends with World's Finest.
That's like season 2.
Yeah. So I have a set of that. And like, those episodes are touch and go. Like there's a couple episodes that are like the one when Lois goes to the alternate world and Superman is kind of like, a Nazi, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that one's a good episode, but there's also weird ones where you have this episode that's really cool, and then you have the weird monkey episode, and then we go back to the really cool. You're like, what is happening?
Yeah.
I do like that. My understanding is Tim Daly had to fight to be Bizarro. Because usually it's two different actors, and he is the first voice actor to be both. And I was like, that makes sense. But then, especially when you watch the way they do it. But yeah, it's okay. It's fine. Like, I haven't watched the entirety of it.
There are some episodes that are like, there's an episode where basically they make it out like Clark Kent was killed, and there's a guy on death row for it. That episode I remember really liking as a kid. That episode still slaps.
Oh yes, and then he's in the gas chamber and he does the whole, wait a minute, Clark Kent is Superman.
I even remember thinking as a kid how messed up that episode was, because it's like, I just watched a guy get the gas chamber on a Saturday morning cartoon. a Superman Saturday morning cartoon. So
yeah. No, the other one was, what was that? The one episode where Darkseid tries to invade and they kick him back, and he's like, enjoy your victory, and then you just like vaporizes Turpin.
just kills Detective Turpin. Again, I think it was the first time I'd ever seen somebody die on TV, especially in a cartoon. I remember as a kid, that shook me. So yeah, the show's good. It just doesn't hold up as well as I would have hoped. But that's neither here nor there. So that's everything that we're watching. Let's get into what we're doing here. So we're gonna each pitch a Batman story arc from the comics that we would like to see turned into an animated flick. We've already, in previous episodes, we've covered like what our top fives, favorite and least favorite are. Go back and check out those episodes after you're done with this one. But we're gonna pitch the movie we want to see, and we're gonna pitch some of the cast. So Matt, I'm gonna have you go first, because I think this was your idea anyway. So let's start with which story arc are you pitching and why?
It's one I still can't believe they haven't done. I think we've talked about it several times. It's Batman the Cult.
I'm not surprised you're doing this one at all.
No, this is one of my favorite books, and it's kind of weird. I've said it before. The thing of it is that this is late 80s, maybe early 90s that this book comes out. And unlike, it seems like every other story arc now, this is the first time you ever see Batman broken.
Yeah.
Up until this point, he has been unstoppable. He has been amazing. Just all the coolness. And it was it was written by Jim Starlin, who famously goes on to do Infinity War and all that stuff, and Bernie Wrightson, who is a fantastic artist who does some of the weirdest, creepiest like creature stuff. If you ever want to look at some really crazy stuff, he's got like a drawing of a zombie going towards somebody, and the guy's trying to push a zombie away, but because he's so decayed, his arm is just going through the body. It's great. Anyway, and it's the storyline itself is that Batman, while he's trying to save somebody, he doesn't realize the person he is saving is part of this cult, and he gets shot. Like almost shot. He gets shot in the head enough that it knocks him out. And then this guy takes him back to the cult to have him saved. And he gets brainwashed because they use like standard brainwashing techniques. They starve him, they drug him, they torture him. He goes through all of this stuff and ends up kind of through drugging and starvation, pseudo joining this cult. And then he's able to realize he's been brainwashed, gets out of it, leaves. And during that situation, the cult takes over Gotham. So then him and Robin have to go back and face this villain. And it's one of the creepiest parts in my mind is at the very end when he finally takes on Deacon Blackfire. And I never will forget this, is like, I've never gone at a man like this before. I don't go to knock him out. I don't go to break anything. I just hit all the parts that I know are going to be the most painful because I'm trying to break the man. And it's like, good night. And you just see him like a full page of him just beat the hell out of this dude. So I really, really liked it. I think it's something you could do. I don't know if the religious implications is what keeps them from doing this, or if it's just so weird of a story. Um, the big thing is that's kind of different with this story is it's one of the only really big graphic novels that is Jason Todd as Robin.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Which, by the way, guys, we did a whole review of Batman the Cult. One of the early episodes we did. So when you get a chance, go back and listen to that as well.
yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, we did a deep dive into it, but it's. I really feel like this is one of those that you could. I mean, I'm not saying every direct to DVD Batman movie has to be super hard edge and violent, but like this is one of those that if you like, I don't like when they take a pre-existing property and make it rated R, but this is one that would totally completely lean into rated R.
Yeah. And also those tend to be, as far as the animated ones go, those tend to be the ones that I think turn out the best anyway, is when they play them for, and I realize that's kind of an edgelord thing to say, like, oh, the dark and edgy ones are the best. When it comes to these DC animated ones, it seems like those are where they really shine the most. When you look at like Dark Knight Returns or Under the Red Hood, the ones that are really dark, that are those tend to be the ones where I think they take fewer creative liberties. They let the story kind of play out on its own, the way it was originally written, and I just think they put more effort into them. You know, obviously the one that doesn't quite line up with that is the Killing Joke because of that crap at the beginning. But when you get to the part that's just the Killing Joke, it plays out excellently. Same with like Long Halloween, where they just let the story be the story. You know, they don't try to take too many liberties to make it more fun. I do think you're onto something as far as the religious aspect of Batman the Cult. Given the current state of things in the world, I can see people having a problem with on either side of things. So that's probably something that leans into why they haven't done it. Also, it's kind of up there with like Arkham Asylum is like this is like dark. So yes, you could. Yes, I know. Like with like Constantine and stuff like those. Like we've done a lot of these are the animated movies, but they're for adults. But this is one that it's like you can't let kids near this one at all.
Yeah.
Like, woof,
I mean, there's
messed up.
It's unclear per se, but I'm 95% sure Batman chopped somebody up with an axe.
Oh, I am convinced Batman killed that guy.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely convinced Batman killed that guy.
Now it's because he's drugged. He thinks it's the Joker.
Yeah.
He's all insane. Like they do a full number on him. This isn't just like, let's put a nana in his brain and make him evil. He
is tortured.
Yeah. So it's really cool. But you also have those moments where you're like, at the same time, this is Batman. So when he fights some dudes and you're like, oh yeah, when you've got Batman who is now angry, it doesn't matter how many guys are there.
Yeah.
He's just going to tear through them like there's nobody's business.
And kind of to your point too, like, yeah, this is one of the few like big stories that also happens to feature Jason Todd's Robin, who is not popular. Obviously, people voted to have him axed, not even at crowbarred and TNT'd. It's a very, I don't know how to phrase this. It's a different way. We've never seen another story quite like this as far as Batman goes. It's so unique. Deacon Blackfire is such a interesting villain who does show up in the Arkham Knight video game, but it's kind of a waste. So honestly, the less said about that, the better. But there are cool things you can do with Deacon Blackfire. That Deacon Blackfire is a character I would love to see like get mixed in with the Scarecrow. Like the two of them together could wreak some havoc.
Now, before I get into my casting, I also think like each one of us, we talked about maybe like what is something we would change.
Sure.
And I think the big thing I would change, number one, this is an easy change, is Robin's costume has been updated since the mid 90s
Yep.
because it's really weird. Jason Todd is probably 17, 18, and he's running around in the booties, trunks version of the Robin suit.
Mhm.
And it's kind of awkward now. Like I know back when I was a kid, that's what he wore. That's how, but as he's kind of gotten out of that costume, it's just kind of weird to see like a teenager in that outfit.
Yeah.
And I honestly thought about changing the Robin, but the more I kept thinking about it, the more I'm like, no, like he doesn't do enough Jason Todd type things, in my opinion, that warrants you to change him to any of the Robins.
Yeah.
And he really doesn't, like, there's not much he does. Like he helps Batman, but it's not like he goes off on his own adventure or whatever. So I think
he's just there to be Robin in this story.
Yeah. So I think he's perfectly fine just being the Robin here. And the only other thing I think I would do is that Joker isn't like, you see Joker, but he's just like the manifestation of Batman's drug-induced hallucinations, and he kills him, quote unquote, kills him.
Yeah.
I really feel like he needs to be there more as he's being drugged, because that's like the ultimate nemesis for Batman. And I'd like to see him hallucinating more with him, because with the cartoon, you're going to spend a little more time with certain things. And I think that would be the other thing I would do, is have that be part of it.
Okay.
But beyond that, everything else is fine.
Yeah, it's one of those stories. It's like, it's just, I don't know. There's not a whole lot about this I would change if you're going to adapt it. I mean, it's fairly, I don't want to say straightforward, but I mean, there's not a lot about it that feels particularly, other than Robin's costume, nothing about it feels particularly dated or anything like that. I mean, you can set this in modern times and I think it would still work just as well, honestly. So,
oh yeah, definitely.
All right, cool. Well, let's get into who you've got. We aren't going to cast like every character, but like who were the the voice cast you picked for the ones you thought were important?
All right, so I'm going to go least important to most important.
Sure.
For Joker, I picked James Spader. I just thought to kind of give Joker a little weird creepiness.
Sure.
Ratface, who is kind of the lieutenant in the cult that brings Batman in and trains him, and then goes on some random mission that causes Batman to get free. I cast John Leguizamo.
Oh yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, I like John.
I cast Alfred and then had a moment. I was like, is he even in this?
He's in it like a little.
Yeah.
A little.
Okay. I cast Rowan Atkinson as
sure, why not?
There's something about like when he doesn't do the Mr. Bean thing, like him in Love Actually, where he just has this condescending thing that I think would totally work for Alfred, the way he deals with Batman sometimes.
I like Rowan Atkinson a lot. So, and yeah, go for it.
Yeah. James Gordon, I cast Ty Burrell. He was in Modern Family.
Oh, ooh, I kind of like that.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know why it hit me. I was like, no, that's so cool.
Okay, he's got a good voice for it.
Yeah. Deacon Blackfire, I cast Dan Fogler. He played,
really?
Yeah, Francis Ford Coppola in the Offer or whatever that's called.
Yeah.
He was in some of the other things. Like I listened to him on a podcast and I was like, that would be cool. Because the thing about Deacon Blackfire and any of these kind of weird religious things is like, as far as this is concerned, is like they have to be charismatic. They have to be likable. You have to be willing to follow this thing. And then you just don't realize how left turn it goes because you're all in. So having somebody who's nice and cool and not like, Deacon Blackfire is not, no one who's going to be, mustache twirling evil. Are you going to buy into their propaganda?
And by the way, guys, once again, this is voice cast. We're talking voice cast. Dan Fogler in live action is not playing Deacon Blackfire.
No, I would do Jason Momoa.
Sure. Actually, no, that's not bad.
um, Robin Jason Todd. I cast Aiden Gallagher from the Umbrella Academy. He plays Fives.
Still haven't seen that. Still need to watch that show.
I can't suggest it, but he's great in it. I didn't particularly care for it. I haven't
A
gone.
lot
back
of people
the
seem to
third.
love it. I never read the comics, and so, but I've been hearing the show. People like the show. So
We'll talk later about what I hate about the show
okay.
because it's pretty long. But he just has this. He's great. He's a Disney kid, and in the show, he basically plays a time traveler, but he is somehow like is 50 and goes back in time to his younger body. So even though the kid playing him is like 16, 15, 16, he's this 40-year-old man inside. And this dude's acting is just supreme.
Oh,
He
nice.
just plays this weird, like, I don't care what you say. We have to do these things. And I think Jason Todd being the condescending kind of not giving a crap about what is being told to him would be fun. And then for my Batman Bruce Wayne, I cast Gabriel Macht, who is one of the leads in Suits.
I haven't watched Suits, so
I've watched a couple episodes. He like every time I watch him, I'm like, oh look, Bruce Wayne is a lawyer.
I'm looking at him right now. Oh, this guy. Okay.
Yeah, I think he played the Spirit.
He was the guy who played the Spirit. Yeah, I hate that movie. That movie sucks.
I never bothered. I knew it was gonna suck.
It was like I was like on a double date or something like that, and we were looking for something just different to go see. It was all of us like let's go watch something weird, and we all loved Sin City, so we were like, oh well, that's it. Oh man, the Spirit is bad.
Yeah, I kind of knew that, but if you go watch any of the clips from Suits, you can just see like, yeah, no, this guy would.
I see a lot of Suits clips pop up on like TikTok, so
yeah,
I'm sure I've probably seen a few. I recognize the guy though.
Yeah, so I think voice wise, he would be a perfect Bruce Wayne Batman kind of thing. So there you go. That's my cast. And now that we're going towards a new reboot of the animated stuff after that horrible dark Justice League Apocalypse War fiasco. Let's lean into some of this
stuff. Yeah, now that we're in the world of where they got like Jensen Ackles, who I still think is probably going to end up being him in live action. Him or Gyllenhaal. I think it's going to come down to him or Gyllenhaal. I really do. But also, I don't know who the guy playing Superman is, so I could be totally wrong.
Yeah, I want to see. I want to see what happens. I think around quote unquote Aquaman releasing is when we'll get a little more about. Yeah,
that movie's not coming out.
Back and forth on it.
Well, I think when Blue Beetle comes out, we'll know some. Well, honestly, there's no way we're going to know until this writer's strike over. Let me put it that way. We're not going to know who Batman is till the writer's strike is over, because there's no script for that movie. There's none. Yeah. Anyway,
allegedly.
Not in a million years. What I believe they already have a script written. They just picked a director. Anyway, yeah, man. Anything? Batman the Cult, great. It was one of the first things we talked about when we started doing this show, and I remember you sent it to me, and I was like, what the hell is this? And then I finished it. I was like, oh, this rules.
So, yeah, it's really, really good.
It's very, very good. Cool. I was torn between a few. Do we want to do honorable mentions at the end, or
I mean, I don't have any, but I could make up one.
I was torn between a few. The one I was gonna do initially was Batman Ego.
Okay.
Because it's a cool story. It's a cool just collection of stories, kind of like how they had like the Batman Gotham Knight anime anthology, which was kind of cool. You could do one of those. I also thought about doing Batman Gothic because it's just a cool, creepy story, and you can do it features Lucifer. So I was like, oh, you can get Tom Ellis to like voice Lucifer for like 5 minutes, which would have been neat. But the one I ended up settling on because I was looking through my some of my long boxes, like it just stuff that I've collected over the years, and I came across I collected almost all of Nightwing Cataclysm. And then I remembered, oh, this is part of a bigger story. So my idea was let's adapt Batman Contagion, but let's also include what you call it, Batman Legacy, Batman Cataclysm, and Batman No Man's Land. Let's adopt that whole 4-part story
Okay. Okay.
into a feature, because that is some excellent, like,
Yeah.
Batman being, you talk about Batman being pushed to the limit, like Batman's having to basically stop Gotham from being wiped out off the face of the earth. And you get a really cool collection of characters that you can play with across this entire arc, because this is over a lot. Like, you'd have to do a lot of pruning, or maybe do multiple movies, because Batman Contagion runs over, I think, like 15 issues or
7 different titles. I mean, it's
that's kind of what's kind of cool about it, is because it features so many. So that's why, like, I haven't mentioned who the writer is, because this takes place over several different titles that all this was a big crossover thing in the 90s they did. So it's a lot of different writers. So I don't have like one of the big ones was Chuck Dixon was kind of had his hand in a lot of it. I think he was kind of like the supervising writer for all of this. But it's a ton of different writers. Like No Man's Land, I think, has like 12 different writers credited on it, because of all the different titles that tie into it. But it's basically, it's the idea of, like, what if a plague hit Gotham, and then all hell broke loose from there, to the point where Gotham, like, gets hit with a massive earthquake. I think it was like a 8.5 earthquake or something like that. And it just
decimates.
Yeah. So it's a really interesting story, where you can really see Gotham and the entire Batman and the entire Bat family really pushed to the limit. The Nightwing run in the comics as well is interesting, because in that one, basically Batman's kind of disappeared because of everything. Like, they don't know where he is, and like technology doesn't work. Everything, they're all just kind of trying to figure out how to survive, while also dealing with like the riots and the rogues that have kind of started to take advantage of everything. It's a really interesting, chaotic set of stories. That would, like I said, would cover Batman Contagion, Batman Legacy, Batman Cataclysm, and Batman No Man's Land. I think you could either do each one as its own movie, combine them all into one, and short some stuff where you need to. There's a lot you could really do a lot with it as far as adapting it to animated. But I think overall, if we're gonna adapt something that's different, I think this is right up there.
Yes, and especially like you're saying, the random characters. I mean, like, you get the weird cops that go against Batman, Lockup, who shows up and does random crap.
Azrael's a big part of this. I'm not a big Azrael fan, but I like Azrael's involvement in this.
The quote unquote new Green Arrow at the time is Green Arrow running around.
Oh yeah.
So, you've got all kinds of stuff.
Huntress is involved, Catwoman's involved, Bane and Ra's al Ghul are involved.
Batgirl, Oracle, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Cassandra Cain, Batgirl, and Oracle are involved. Tim Drake's Robin, Nightwing. I'm probably forgetting a few.
I mean, it's everybody. It's everybody.
I mean, it was a huge event. Like, this is pre, this is 96 when this is hitting. So this was a big DC Batman universe crossover like event, with all because it crosses over with like Shadow of the Bat and Detective Comics, Azrael, Catwoman, Huntress. I mean, Nightwing. Obviously, it was a lot of crossovers. The Batman Bane story arc is involved in this. I don't think it involves Nightfall.
No, that's different. Nightfall's when Batman gets his back broken.
Right. I'm trying to remember if that's somehow looped in, but I don't think it is.
No, this is like years after that.
Okay. I don't know.
Nightfall's like 90.
The 90s all run together for me because I was a kid. So
yeah, Nightfall's like 91, 92.
Is it that early? Really?
Yeah, because I was still in high school at the time. Okay. And then the Contagion and all that's like later 90s.
Yeah, Contagion's 96.
It's kind of weird to think about, like, oh yeah, because I remember reading that at this place, and that was about this time. Because the computer store I used to work at in my early 20s, Barnes and Nobles was built next door to it. So on my lunch breaks, I would go over there and read all the graphic novels.
Oh, gotcha. Nice.
So because I didn't have any money, I couldn't buy comics at the time.
Ah,
But no, it's, I mean, it's like, this is where you start getting into, like, we've done everything we can with Batman. What's something different? Oh, let's destroy Gotham and watch him try and put it back together.
because if there's one thing Batman cannot protect Gotham from, it is a natural disaster.
Yeah.
There's just like, because I think at one point they mentioned that like all of like Batman / Bruce Wayne's like built like Wayne Manor are like able to sustain like a 7.2 earthquake, and this is like an 8.5.
Yeah.
So it's like he couldn't even fathom. Again, there's only so much you can do to protect from an earthquake. Eventually, it's just gonna hit you.
Yeah. So so this is perfect. Yeah. Let me ask you this: what is something big you would change, or is there something you would change in this story?
Honestly, it would probably just be how, if we're gonna adapt this for animated, I think the biggest thing is you would just have to cut out a lot of fluff. There's a lot of extra, because it crosses over with so many stories. So you'd have to pick what you're going to focus on. And I think that would come down to if you were going to make it a 4-part, if you were going to make it 1, if you're going to make it 2, it would depend on that.
Yeah. I would almost say like you do, it's 3 or 4 movies, and you even do like this is what do a Nightwing separate DVD that deals with what he was dealing with.
If you're doing it if you do it with each run getting its own movie, then you can do a lot more because you have room to breathe. If you're trying to condense it down into one, then congratulations, all you extra characters, you're all getting cut.
That story of Nightwing having to take over the prison again is fantastic.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Honestly, if there was something you absolutely had to keep, it would be the Batman and Nightwing aspects of it, because like the Catwoman stuff is interesting. Doesn't really need to be. It's I hate saying that, but it doesn't need to be in there. It's hard, but again, it would all come down to how you wanted to adapt it. I'm gonna operate under the assumption that we're adapting each one as its own and just do a 4-part story. Kind of like how they did like Dark Knight Returns Part 1 and 2, or Long Halloween Part 1 and 2. Just do all 4 parts. That's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
I think that's perfect.
All right. So I cast 4 characters. I cast Bane, Ra's al Ghul, Nightwing, and Batman.
Okay, do it.
So Ra's al Ghul, I voice cast Fawad. I'm probably gonna mess with his name. Fawad Khan, who was in Ms. Marvel. He played her great grandfather in the past in Pakistan.
Okay. Yes.
He is big in Pakistan. Ms. Marvel is the only American thing he's worked on.
Yeah.
He's also a big music star, but he has got a great voice. He's got an excellent voice. He's so in the episode of Ms. Marvel he's in, because his whole point of the episode is to be this charming guy who charms the shit out of her grandmother and gets her to marry him, but also is facing these trials during partition. And so with Ra's al Ghul, you need someone who can be kind of that charmer, that snake oil salesman type person, who also you put him in the wrong position and he can rage hard. And I was really taken by this guy's performance in Ms. Marvel. I was shocked to realize, to find out that was the only American property he's worked on. But it's not shocking that he is huge over in Pakistan. So I hope he gets more work in bigger things. But he does not have a lot of screen time in that episode of Ms. Marvel, but I was very taken with his performance. And so when I was like, I'm going to cast Ra's al Ghul, my first thought was, who was the guy?
Yeah.
Who was that guy?
Who's Bane?
Bane, I'm going old school, Carlos Alazraqui.
Kind of refresh. Who's he?
Carlos Alazraqui is, he was on Reno 911. He was Garcia. He has been doing a lot of voice acting over the years, including he was the voice of Bane in what the hell? In the Justice League Doom.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I like him a lot. I really like Carlos Alazraki. I think he's a stellar. I mean, this is a guy who he has got, I think, more voice acting credits than Mark Hamill. Honest to God. I mean, it's a lot, especially for like kids cartoons and stuff like that. Like he did stuff for like Fairly Odd Parents. He had his short-lived show that he was one of the leads on. It was called El Tigre on Nickelodeon. He did stuff with Hey Arnold, SpongeBob SquarePants. I mean, this is a guy who has been in a lot. He was the Taco Bell Chihuahua dog. The Yo Quiero Taco Bell Chihuahua, that was him.
Yo Quiero Taco Bell.
A lot of folks don't know that. But it's also the same guy who said he was Officer Garcia in Reno 911, and he is hilarious. He's a great comedian as well. So he's my Bane. For Nightwing, I picked Joe Keery, who plays Steve on Stranger Things.
I have no problem with that. That sounds cool. I like that guy.
Yeah, I like him a lot. I just did a rewatch of Stranger Things not too long ago, and I was like, he'd be a good Nightwing. And then for Batman, I don't know why I thought of this guy, but I think I was watching somebody talk about. But it's Ralph Ineson from Game of Thrones. He plays Cleftjaw in Game of Thrones, who is one of the Iron Islands people, and he was in that movie The Green Knight.
Nope.
Okay. He has got a crazy good voice. He's got a very good, deep, velvety / kind of velvet and gravel mixed together. He's got a great, intimidating voice. So I think if he can get the accent right, because I think he's Irish. If he can figure out the accent, I think he's got a great voice for Batman. I'd like to see that a lot.
Cool. No, Yes.
Yeah, it's a great story. It's great. Contagion, Legacy, Cataclysm, and No Man's Land. I was curious to see if maybe somebody had collected all of those into one collection, but then I realized that would be a thick book.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, because this again, like this ties in with like Shadow of the Bat, which is an excellent yes. Batman series. We did which one did we talk about with them? The Last Arkham was
Last Arkham's the first 4 or 6 issues of the Shadow of the Bat comic.
Yeah. So we're in that realm. Yeah, it's a cool story. It's not anything close to what's been done anywhere in any stretch of the imagination with Batman live action, animation, or otherwise. So I think it would be just, again, kind of like with the cult of like the idea of Batman being pushed to the limit in a way that he couldn't possibly prepare for, which is a natural disaster.
Exactly. So, no, I think it like I said, like I was reading Nightwing at the time. I enjoyed that part of it. I think I read some of the other stuff. It was very cool.
Nightwing Cataclysm is excellent. Nightwing Cataclysm is very good.
That's when they finally, after like 2 decades, re-engage the Batgirl Nightwing romance.
Yeah. Because this is going on at the same time that him and Huntress were having a thing.
It's right after.
Yeah. Because I collected a bunch of those too. The Nightwing Huntress run.
Yeah. Because Nightwing Huntress is that. Yeah, Huntress is that girl that like. Well, I shouldn't say.
Huntress is the character that is just there. Huntress is a character on her own is awesome. When they start using her to shake up the Bat family, I'm not into it.
Well, and I thought like her and Nightwing being together at the time of who Nightwing was, I was like, no, that's kind of because he's still not in the Bat family yet.
Yeah, he's
still this like he's pulled himself away. He's in a different city. He gets mad. He gets more annoyed when Batman shows up than happy to see him.
Yeah, so, because when Batman shows up, it's always just stay away from Huntress. And so it's almost like he's hooking up with Huntress just to piss off Batman. And I was like, I'm not into this.
Yeah. But then like I think it's funny because later on it's like that whole like you can't stay away from her. You want to, but you can't.
You just can't.
And then, when they finally re-engage, because he is at this time, like he and Batgirl are not a thing.
No.
So when they re-engage that, I'm like, thank God. Like, this really needed to be where he's at.
Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon are the Ross and Rachel of the DC universe. They have to be together. They simply have to be. They are made for each other. That's why I'm glad that in the Tom King run, they are, for all intents and purposes, back together.
Yeah, they're Tom Taylor. You mean
Tom Taylor? Let's say Tom King. Yeah, Tom Taylor.
I was about to slap you.
Yes, totally different.
but no, yeah, I like that it's going that way. So it's anyway. But yeah, it's a cool run. It's a cool read. Nightwing's rules. We all know I feel that way. So there we go.
Very nice. Obviously, we'd love to know if there are any you guys have. If you've got a run that hasn't been adapted yet, you'd like to see from Batman, please, let us know. You can find us on Twitter at We Are the Batman. Let us know how much you hate our decisions. You can find me on Twitter at Mr. Mike Shea.
You can find me at Twitter at Mr. J Ninja.
That is going to do it for this week's episode of We Are the Batman. We will see you guys again next time. Same bat time, same bat podcast channel.
Bye-bye.